Hi, folks. My name is Jeff Greger, and this is my final presentation for EDUC 5800. I performed a meta-analysis on the impact of gamification integration in a mathematics classroom. Having a robust number sense is a fundamental academic skill that will transform student learning in the 21st century. Hogan states that a strong number sense helps build a foundation for mathematical understanding. In today's classroom, there's a defined focus on STEM disciplines, which includes science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And students who lack this understanding will continue to increase their deficits gaps in these areas throughout their educational journey. The purpose of the research is to examine the extent to which the integration of gamification has impacted the learning environment in a mathematics classroom. This study's research question is, what are the effects of integrating gamification into a mathematics classroom compared to a traditional approach? I also listed 4 sub-questions. What are students' perspectives towards mathematics and gamification? What is the teacher's attitude towards the actual use of gamification? Does student achievement increase with the use of gamification? And finally, what programs have proved to increase student achievement when integrating gamification? Many students seem so connected to technology that this approach of gamification integration may have great success. Barbo states that the generation of students born with digital technology bring with them a significantly different approach to learning. Students need to be stimulated and given opportunities to succeed. They need to be provided with meaningful and exciting ways to learn in hopes of increasing student achievement. The standard traditional stand and deliver method of teaching will simply not reach all learners, and it is crucial that different approaches are considered. Gamification education aims to make learning more engaging and appealing to a public audience and goes beyond traditional learning methods, as traditional learning tends to be boring. Study Pugs suggests that the pervasiveness of gamification in academia has had a particularly strong impact on the instruction, learning, and development of math curricula. The editorial team came up with 5 benefits to incorporating gamification in a mathematics classroom. It boosts enthusiasm towards math, it lessens disruptive behavior, it increases cognitive growth, mature make believe encourages growth and development, and game-centric learning improves attention span. Looking at the most recent provincial achievement results for grade 10 mathematics in New Brunswick, it shows that of the 4,892 participating grade 10 students, only 62.8% were successful on the mathematics component. Of these students, 61.3% attained appropriate achievement and 1.5% attained strong achievement. Are these results good enough? How do you motivate students to learn when they are so consumed with everything else around them outside the classroom? It is reported that only 38% of the students in the province of New Brunswick were interested and motivated in their learning, which is below the Canadian norm of 43%. Boulay suggests gamification is the introduction of an extrinsic reward system based on mechanics to non-game content such as learning content in order to engage and motivate learners to participate and complete the activity. Lay states that the typical approach of being shown concepts and being expected to apply the learned concepts in problem solving is often reported by students to be boring, dry, and repetitive. Many students fail to understand the truly free and explorative nature of what mathematics study at the post-secondary level is like. I need to make math meaningful and provide students with an understanding of why math is so important in the real world. One of the biggest things to keep in mind with gamification integration is selecting the program that best fits your students. Does the program properly align to the curriculum outcomes? Is the program at the skill level of all students? Are my students increasing achievement because of the program? Ultimately, you need to know your students and what their needs are before integrating gamification. There's not a one size fits all program for every student, so it's crucial that you figure out their needs. Keep in mind, there's room to experiment regarding what you gamify. Just because students are not receptive to gamified lessons doesn't mean gamified projects will disengage them. Ask for student feedback and have that open communication system with them. Based on the data, it is evident that many students are currently not at grade level in the province of New Brunswick for mathematics. Our district's attendance policy, Attendance Matters, states that every day makes a difference. Time is so incredibly valuable. We need to make the most of it for our students as soon as they walk through the door. With so many students using technology daily, instead of penalizing them for having phones or devices, use it as a tool to help students learn. Educators need to figure out who their students are and select the appropriate resources to maximize learning. Booker believes that games are seen to be fun, not only motivating, but ensuring full engagement, particularly through reflection and discussion, on which constructive learning depends. Looking at a study conducted by Bragg, she summarized that when asked for a time in which the students felt they were learning, the students recalled fun activities. Games may have the potential to provide students with a mathematically focused activity while engaging them through a perception of fun. Trafton and Bloom propose that children learn through social interaction by talking, listening, and actively exploring concepts with their peers in whole class, small group, or individual activities. This is a wonderful opportunity for students to collaborate as a class and build those important relationships while learning. Ernest states that mathematical games are valuable for stimulating and encouraging mathematical discussion between groups of children and between pupil and teacher. In an action research report analyzing the engagement level of students at the secondary level, Bannett suggests the results of the data analysis showed an average overall increase of 5 to 10% in student engagement, as well as improved student enjoyment and enthusiasm for lessons involving technology when compared to traditional parallel lessons. According to the post-survey results from Bannett's study, it's reported that 50% of students responded that they thought technology helped them learn more. 47% thought it had a neutral impact, and only 3% said that technology slowed their learning. When interviewing my students, one of their most preferred methods of formative assessment is when I integrate gamification into a lesson with a Kahoot. Kahoots are a game-based platform that offers multiple choice quizzes that can be accessed through a personal device. Kahoots are an excellent tool for my high school math classes, as most of my students have their own personal devices already. Looking at a study done by Gokskin and Gorski on the success of engagement in gamified learning experience via Kahoot and quizzes, the study findings demonstrated that the reward system increased student motivation in the course, the students feel important when they win badges, and the competitive environment shortens the students' response time. In a study looking at 48 students from Brazil, the goal was to understand the impact of gamification on students while looking at engagement and behavior given their personality traits. Smitterall states the gamified system can change student behavior. Gamified group participants had a significant improvement in the quality of submitted solutions, having obtained more accuracy. Teachers' professional opinions are extremely important and need to be considered prior to implementing gamification. When looking at teachers' attitudes toward gamification, Marty Pernero suggested that only a small percentage of teachers, at 11.3%, use gamification on a regular basis in their courses, although teachers' attitude towards gamification is positive and high. The results show that teachers find gamification educational games to be a good idea at a score of 4.42 out of 5, and a positive thing at 4.35 out of 5. In addition, teachers have favorable attitudes toward gamification at 4.28 out of 5. These are all based on mean scores. One main conclusion of the research is that it might be an attitude use gap in gamification. While teachers show a positive attitude towards gamification, there is not an intense use of it in their courses. Sanchez Manel conducted 16 structured online interviews to see what the main drivers and barriers were for teachers to use gamification in their classroom. The four main drivers were attention motivation, entertainment, interactivity, and easiness to learn. And the four main barriers were lack of resources, students' apathy, subject fit, and classroom dynamics. I feel that the attention motivation would be my biggest driver when integrating gamification. If students are engaged and motivated to learn, there's a higher probability to increase achievement. The biggest barrier for me would be classroom dynamics. I need to be flexible and ready to make changes as all students learn differently and may need a different program. One of the biggest things to consider when determining whether to integrate gamification or not is whether it increases student achievement. A study done from 2010 to 2016, conducted by Abraham and Sadat, reported that gamification has added 7.2% positive value to academic achievement, according to 45 experimental results involving 3,487 students from different countries. Both the quantitative and qualitative data confirm that there is room for gamification in the classroom. Sometimes it is difficult measuring qualitative data. However, reading some of the teachers' personal comments gave me a firsthand understanding of their perspectives towards integrating gamification. Copious amounts of data suggested that this strategy does in fact increase student motivation, engagement, and achievement towards learning, which is a huge step in the right direction. Overall, I am satisfied with my final paper as I have put a considerable amount of time, effort, and energy into it. However, it always could be better. I learned that most of the research pointed towards gamification, increasing engagement, motivation, and achievement, but there are still challenges associated with it. Like anything in education, a one size fits all approach will never satisfy an entire classroom, and various methods need to be used to reach all learners.